15 JDM legends that were killed off by automakers. There was a time when Japan built cars that didn't just perform, they spoke to you. Machines born from passion, tuned for purity, and remembered long after their engines went silent. But not every legend got the ending it deserved. Some were killed off too soon, victims of economics, emissions, and changing times. So today we're looking at 15 JDM icons that met an early, painful end. Cars that could have ruled the roads a little longer if only their creators hadn't pulled the plug. 15. Toyota Supra A80, 1993 to 2002. The A80 Supra wasn't just fast, it was a cultural icon. Its 2JZ GTE inline 6 became legendary for one thing: indestructible power. Stock, it made 276 horsepower, but tuners knew it could handle 4-digit numbers without breaking a sweat. It was Japan's gift to the tuning world. A car that felt built for the future. So why kill it? Blame the early 2000s. Sports cars weren't selling. Emissions standards tightened, and Toyota was pivoting toward hybrids and efficiency. The Supra's price tag and fuel thirst no longer fit the company's image. Production quietly stopped. No farewell, no celebration, just silence. For years, Toyota refused to bring it back, leaving fans clinging to used models and memories. It wasn't until 2019 that the nameplate returned, but it wasn't the same. The new Supra, co-developed with BMW, split opinions. Some loved the performance. Others said it lacked the soul of the original. The truth? The A80 didn't die because it was bad. It died because it was too good for the times. It represented freedom, tuning culture, and raw Japanese engineering. All the things the early 2000s left behind. And for many enthusiasts, the original Supra isn't just a car that was discontinued, it's a reminder of when Japan dared to dream bigger than anyone else. 14. Toyota MR2 SW20, 1989 to 1999. The Toyota MR2 was Japan's mid-engine dream, small, agile, and beautifully balanced. It made ordinary drivers feel like racers without draining a wallet. But like many legends, it couldn't outrun changing times. Debuting in the late 80s, it did things differently. Mid-engine, rear-wheel drive, and razor-sharp responses. Traits usually reserved for Ferraris, not Toyotas. The second-generation SW 2019-89 looked outright exotic, and with a turbocharged 2-liter making up to 245 horsepower, it could do 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds. Not bad for a cheap sports car. That brilliance had a sting. The same layout that made it magical also made it unforgiving, earning the snap oversteer special nickname. Insurance climbed, accidents followed, and Toyota softened later models. Safer, but less thrilling. By the late 90s, emissions tightened, sports car sales slumped, and Toyota pivoted to safer, more profitable cars. The MR2 faded, replaced by crossovers and hybrids. The final MR2 Spider tried to rekindle the spark, but the magic wasn't the same. Today, the MR2 feels like a forgotten masterpiece. Ferrari-like dynamics at a fraction of the price, killed quietly, remembered loudly, it remains a bittersweet reminder of what driving used to feel like. 13. Subaru WRX STI EJ25 era, 2004 to 2021. The Subaru WRX STI was the rally-bred hero of the streets, loud, raw, and unapologetically fast. Born from WRC grit, it earned its name in mud, snow, and gravel, with a 2.5-liter turbo boxer, all-wheel drive, and that towering wing-turning errands into sprints. It wasn't refined, it was electric. A car that could shame supercars on a mountain road and still haul groceries. But the world shifted. Emissions tightened, competitors' turbos got cleaner and smarter, and the aging EJ25, rough, idle, big thirst, started to feel ancient. Subaru tweaked, but never transformed it enough to match its rising price. Then the gut punch. When the next-gen WRX landed in 2022, there was no STI, not even a hybrid. Officially, it didn't fit future regulations. Unofficially, the old-school rally monster didn't fit a market chasing EVs and crossovers. The STI didn't just end, it vanished. No farewell, no special, just silence. That stung because it stood for something pure, the raw bond between driver and machine. Now, spotting an STI feels like seeing a relic from a better time. Loud, brash, wonderfully alive. Subaru moved on. The fans? They're still waiting for that boxer burble to come back. 12. Toyota Celica GT4 ST205. The Celica GT4 was Toyota's rally-bred monster, built to dominate dirt, tarmac, and snow. But politics and shifting markets cut it down early. At its peak in the late 80s and 90s, especially as the ST205, it packed a turbo 2-liter 3S GTE, full-time AWD, and a lightweight body, delivering around 250 horsepower to take on Evos and Imprezas with real bite. It wasn't just quick, it was a tech showcase. Anti-lag, advanced suspension, even intercooler water spray. The 1995 hit. Toyota was caught using a restrictor bypass in the WRC, called the most ingenious cheating device ever seen, leading to a ban that shattered the GT4's image. Sales fell, the program died, and Celica drifted into front-wheel drive coupes with none of the rally soul. By 2006, the nameplate was gone. The GT4 deserved better. It proved Toyota could build a hardcore driver's car when it chose to. Years later, the GR Yaris rekindled that fire, but the Celica GT4 remains the one that got away, a hero undone by brilliance and scandal. 11. Nissan 300 ZX Z32 1989 to 2000. The 300 ZX was a masterpiece that came too soon, a car so advanced for its time that it priced itself out of existence. It was Nissan's attempt to build a supercar for the streets, and for a while it worked. When it launched in 1989, the Z32 was a revolution. Sleek, futuristic, and packed with technology, it looked like something from the next decade. Under the hood sat a twin-turbo 3-liter V6 producing 300 horsepower. A big deal back then. It could hit 60 miles per hour in under 6 seconds and handle corners like a dream thanks to 4-wheel steering and near-perfect balance. But all that performance came at a cost, literally. The 300ZX was expensive to build, complex to maintain, and heavy compared to earlier Z cars. As the 90s wore on, the yen rose and Japan's economy slowed down. Sales plummeted, and by 2000, Nissan quietly killed it off. It wasn't just the end of a model, it was the end of an era. The C once stood for affordable performance, but the 300ZX had become too ambitious for its own good. Today, enthusiasts still love it for its design and performance, but finding a clean one is getting harder every year. The 300ZX died because it was too good, too advanced for a market that wasn't ready. And in a strange way, that's what makes it unforgettable. 10. Mazda RX7, 1978 to 2002. The Mazda RX7 was more than a car. It was a statement. A sleek, lightweight coupe powered by a rotary that revved higher and sang louder than almost anything on the road, proving Mazda's belief in doing things differently. The original 1978 car chased balance, front engine, rear drive, near-perfect weight distribution. But the real star was the Wankel rotary. No pistons, just spinning rotors delivering eerily smooth, high-rev power. Then came the FD in the 90s. The RX7 everyone remembers. Light, beautiful, and armed with a twin-turbo 13 BREW, making around 276 horsepower. It paired with sub-1,300 kilograms to feel explosive, carving corners with Porsche rivaling precision and a turbo kick like pure adrenaline. The magic had a price. Rotaries love revs but hate neglect, sipping fuel and oil and punishing poor maintenance. As emissions tightened and reliability mattered more, keeping the RX-7 alive made less sense. By 2002, it was gone, ended by the quirks that made it special. The RX-8 tried to carry the flame, but never the same. The RX-7 defined an era, light, pure, and perfectly flawed, and it left with one of the most distinctive engine notes ever. 9. Mitsubishi 3000 GT GTO 1990 to 2000. The Mitsubishi 3000 GT, or GTO in Japan, was a rolling showcase of early 90s technology, an over-engineered grand tourer built to compete with the world's best. It featured a twin-turbo V6, full-time all-wheel drive, four-wheel steering, and even active aerodynamics with pop-up headlights. It was a technological marvel. The flagship VR4 model was a true powerhouse. Its 3-liter twin-turbo V6 pushed 300 horsepower in early models, climbing to 320 horsepower later, making it seriously quick in a straight line. But the real story was the tech. Adjustable exhaust, active suspension, and an active rear spoiler, all standard. It was a statement that Mitsubishi could build a futuristic, world-class super coupe, but that complexity was its downfall. All that high-tech gear made made the car heavy, expensive to build, and brutally difficult to maintain. A simple repair often required specialized knowledge. As the decade ended, performance trends shifted toward lighter, simpler cars, and stricter safety standards meant costly redesigns. Mitsubishi's focus, too, narrowed to the successful Lancer Evo. It was a sad end for a car that dared to be different. The 3000 GT died not because it lacked performance, but because it had too much ambition and too many parts. Today, clean VR4s are highly sought after by collectors who appreciate the sheer engineering audacity that created one of the most complex yet unforgettable JDM icons of the era. Next up is another Nissan that took things even further. A car that dominated the streets and earned a nickname that still gives chills: Godzilla. 8. Nissan GT-R R34, Skyline 1999 to 2002. The Nissan GT-R R34 wasn't just a car, it was a legend written in steel and boost. When it landed in 1999, it felt decades ahead. A twin-turbo inline-six, a Tessa ETS all-wheel drive, and super high-cast four-wheel steering made it not just quick, but surgical. Nicknamed Godzilla for how it crushed rivals. It hit 0 to 60 in about 4.9 seconds. But the real magic was control. On track or in rain, it felt unshakable, almost supernatural for its era. Then the plug was pulled. Emissions tightened, the yen strengthened, and Nissan's finances cratered. The R34 was costly to build and sell, and the market for hardcore coupes was shrinking fast. Production ended in 2002, a gut punch to enthusiasts. The Skyline name lived on, but the R35 that followed was a different beast, more supercar, less street legend, missing that raw analog heartbeat. The R34 didn't die because it failed. It died because it was too good, too advanced, too expensive to evolve, too pure for a profit-driven world. Today, it's among the most collectible JDM icons, prices soaring as the last chapter of an era and the end of innocence in performance design. But if you think Nissan was the only one forced to bury a legend, wait until you see what Toyota did to one of its greatest creations. 7. Mazda RX8 2003 to 2012. The RX8 was Mazda's brave attempt to keep the rotary dream alive. It followed the legendary RX7, and expectations were sky high. Unfortunately, reality didn't cooperate. On paper, it sounded perfect. A lightweight four-door sports coupe with a 1.3-liter rotary engine revving to 9,000 RPM. It handled beautifully, looked unique, and had those iconic rear-hinged doors. But the magic ended when it came time to live with one. The rotary engine was smooth, yes, but it was also fragile. It burned oil, flooded easily, and required constant attention. Many owners didn't know how to care for it properly, and engines started dying young. Add strict emission standards, and Mazda's dream engine became a liability. By 2012, the RX8 was discontinued, not because people didn't love how it drove, but because it couldn't pass new regulations. It was the last rotary-powered production car in the world, and its death felt like losing a piece of history. Still, the RX8 deserves credit. It proved Mazda's dedication to doing things differently, even when it didn't make business sense. It wasn't perfect, but it had soul, and that's something no EV can replace. 6. Mazda RX7 FD3S 1992 to 2002. The Mazda RX7 FD was a masterpiece, sleek, light, and built around the 13 BREW twin-rotor rotary. It wasn't about brute power, it was about balance. 50-50 weight distribution, razor-sharp handling, and a driving feel so pure it felt alive in your hands. It made around 276 horsepower, but the magic was delivery. Sequential twin turbos gave a smooth rising surge to redline, and the rotary didn't rumble. It screamed, high-pitched and otherworldly. On a mountain road, few cars could keep up. Light on its feet and beautifully tuned, it still hailed as one of the best handling cars ever made. But brilliance came with a cost. The 13B was temperamental. It loved revs and demanded strict maintenance, fuel, and oil. Neglect invited apex seal failures and blown turbos. Add tightening emissions and rising costs, and Mazda's dream became unsustainable. By 2002, it was gone. The RX8 tried to carry the torch, but never matched the magic. The RX7 wasn't just a car, it was a feeling, a rare bond between human and machine. It didn't die because it failed. It died because the world didn't understand it. And speaking of misunderstood legends, the next car was born from Nissan's racing heritage, built to dominate, but crushed by its own company. 5. Nissan Silvia S15 1999 to 2002. The Nissan Silvia S15 was the final chapter in a beloved lineage. Light, rear-wheel drive, perfectly balanced, and powered by the SR20D ET Turbo 4. It wasn't just quick, it was a tuner's dream. The quoted 250 horsepower was merely the beginning. A few bolt-ons and a bigger turbo, and it could punch far above its weight. It looked the part too. Sleek lines, low stance, unmistakably JDM. On street or track, it felt alive, agile, predictable, endlessly rewarding. Then the early 2000s hit. Sports cars were dying, buyers wanted crossovers, regulations tightened, and Nissan needed mass-market hits. In 2002, the Silvia was axed, never officially sold in the US, and replaced by nothing, just silence. The formula was right: lightweight, rear drive, affordable fun, but the timing wasn't. Today, the S15 is a drifting icon in a unicorn in clean, unmodified form, with prices climbing as survivors dwindle. It wasn't merely a model, it was a statement. Proof that simplicity and balance beat brute force. When it ended, it felt like more than a discontinuation. It felt like a movement cut short. And speaking of lost legends, the next one wasn't just a car, it was a supercar killer that met a fate no one saw coming. 4. Toyota Chaser. Mark II JZX100. The Toyota Chaser was Japan's ultimate undercover sports sedan, a family car that could destroy sports cars without breaking a sweat. It had everything a sleeper lover could ask for: rear-wheel drive, turbo power, and subtle looks. Powered by the legendary JZGTE engine, the smaller brother of the Supra's 2JZ, it made around 280 horsepower stock, but tuners knew it could handle way more. Some modified versions easily pushed 600 horsepower, all while looking like your uncle's company car. That was the magic of the Chaser. It didn't scream performance. No flashy spoilers, no loud graphics, just clean lines and quiet confidence. It was the perfect blend of business and boost. So why did Toyota kill it? Changing market demands and stricter emissions laws. By the early 2000s, buyers wanted safer, cleaner, more efficient sedans, not turbocharged drift machines. Toyota replaced it with the bland Mark X, and the JZX era quietly ended. Today, the Chaser has a massive cult following, especially among drifters and tuners. It's rare, desirable, and still one of the coolest sleeper cars ever built. Its death marked the end of an era when even four doors could have attitude. 3. Honda S2000, 1999 to 2009. The Honda S2000 was everything enthusiasts dreamed of. Lightweight, rear-wheel drive, and powered by a glorious 2-liter that screamed to 9,000 RPM and made 240 horsepower without a turbo. Launched in 1999 for Honda's 50th anniversary, it felt like a love letter to pure driving. Razor-sharp balance, a buttery 6-speed, and responses so immediate it felt telepathic. It wasn't just fast, it felt alive at any speed, but the world shifted. Buyers gravitated to turbo torque and tech-heavy performance, and the S2000's old-school recipe, high revs, little torque, no frills, started to feel demanding. It rewarded skill and punished sloppy inputs, which didn't help as tastes changed. Then the late 2000s downturn hit, Honda cut costs, leaned into hybrids and practicality, and in 2009, the S2000 ended quietly. No replacement, just silence. For fans, it marked the end of something rare. Honda's last truly raw sports car, a time capsule of feel-over figures. Its legend has only grown. Prices rising, builds thriving, and that F20C still sending chills. It wasn't killed by failure, but by changing times, a driver's car in a world drifting from drivers. Next up, a car that carried Mazda's soul until emissions and economy strangled it out of existence. 2. Mitsubishi FTO, 1994 to 2000. The Mitsubishi FTO was a compact sports coupe that deserved far more attention than it ever got. It looked sharp, handled beautifully, and even won Japan's Car of the Year in 1994. But outside Japan, few people noticed. Under the hood sat a 2-liter V6, rare for such a small car, and in its top GPX trim, it revved to nearly 8,000 RPM. Paired with Mitsubishi's clever Invex 2 automatic gearbox or a manual option, it was quick, agile, and perfectly balanced. But timing was cruel. The FTO arrived just as Mitsubishi's global strategy started collapsing. The Lancer Evolution stole all the spotlight, and the FTO never officially came to key markets like the US. When Japan's economy slowed, sales dropped, and Mitsubishi decided to pull the plug in 2000. It didn't die because it was bad. It died because it was forgotten. The FTO was a victim of bad marketing and worse timing. Today, it's a cult classic among enthusiasts who know what it really was. A front-wheel drive coupe that could dance through corners and make you smile every single time. It wasn't as famous as the Supra or RX7, but it had heart, and that's why people still remember it. 1. Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution, 1992 to 2016. The Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution wasn't just a car, it was a movement. Born on rally stages, it turned a humble sedan into a world-beating weapon with racer soul, engineer brains, and street fighter attitude. From Evo 1 to Evo X, the recipe sharpened. Turbo 2-liter power, advanced all-wheel drive, and knife-edge handling. By Evo 6, it was humiliating supercars on road and dirt, caring nothing for luxury, only results. Its tech was wizardry. Active yaw control and later super all-wheel control gave reflexes that still humble modern performance cars. It was a car to fight with, rewarding precision, punishing mistakes. But purity is expensive. Emissions tightened, buyers drifted to SUVs, and accountants won. In 2016, production ended with the Evo X Final Edition, a quiet goodbye to a Japanese icon. Fans were gutted because the Evo was honest, raw, loud, unfiltered, living for corners and loving boost. It proved performance comes from passion, not prestige. While rivals softened, it stayed wild to the end. The Lancer Evolution didn't fade away, it went out swinging. And with that, we close this list of JDM legends lost to time. Cars that defined an era, inspired generations, and reminded us that true performance comes from the heart, not the badge.